Good afternoon, and thank you for being here today. To get started, I'd like to thank two groups of people. First, my campaign team, Jennifer Kurland and Alan Fenner, for everything you've done, for everything you're going to do, and for joining me on this campaign journey. I'd also like to thank my fellow Jaycees, those that have been there over the last 10 years, who've pushed me and pulled me, sometimes swindled me, but yet always walked beside me. Thank you for everything. Now, life's funny. When I was in college, I had two classes in my major that I didn't really care for. Landfill management and anything to do with air. My first job, I was a consultant for the landfill industry. My second job, I was an air pollution control consultant for the landfill industry. But over my years of that career, I have built a very successful career out of two topics that I didn't initially care for. Ironic. My JC career regarding the community area has a similar twist. I've been to projects that had really great, meaningful impact. I've laughed, I've cried, I've met my best friend at a community project. I felt like when I went home at the end of a day, that I changed lives. On the other hand, I've also been to those community projects where I felt useless. Not useless in the sense that there's too many volunteers, but useless in the sense that what I did didn't really matter. And I'd go home at the end of the night thinking, how much value have I been wasting on projects like this? In fact, the community area, is not one that previously I had a passion to lead in, which is ironic that I stand here before you today asking you to vote for me for your community vice president. Why? Because I don't want you to feel like your efforts are wasted. I want you to experience meaningful impact. And I want you to go home at the end of a day knowing that what you did changed lives. As your community development vice president, I would have one key objective, and that is to assist chapters in identifying and conducting local projects to have meaningful impact. Because community is way more than community service and the man hours we put in and volunteer. It's about our towns and our cities, the people, businesses, partnerships, and our entire environment that make up the places that we live, we work, and we raise our families together. So how are we going to do this? First, I'd like to focus our efforts on community projects that are local and have meaningful impact. All communities have some similar characteristics. But, just like your fingerprints, no two are alike. Every community is unique. What it needs to grow and thrive can only be defined by that individual community. As leaders, we are most effective at home, in our local communities. Finding a way, or finding what the need is in your local community, starts with a survey. And I'll develop a survey for that each chapter can take home and use to start the process of figuring out what it is that their community needs. And it doesn't stop there. Because true community service is about finding and getting at the core of a community's problems and then finding a long-lasting, sustainable solution. Which is why I'll encourage every chapter to be meeting with their mayor, their town council, to find out what it is that challenges their communities and come up with a solution. I'd also like to bring two training programs into Michigan, JCI Impact and JCI Corporate Social Responsibility. Those two training programs are meant for each and every member of your chapter, not just your board members. Those those trainings will jointly help us do some key things. And that's to assist us in finding ways to make long-lasting positive impact in our own communities. It will teach us how to measure the impact that we've been making. And will help us understand our role as active citizens in our own communities. There is so much, there's so much going on in our nation, in our world, that it's very easy to forget what is closest to us. Our own homes, towns, and cities. So, I want you to make impact that's positive and has a purpose. I want you to know that what you've done is meaningful. And I'd ask you to elect me, Bridgette Rillema, as your community vice president next year. And in 2013, we'll make impact with a purpose in all of our local communities.